some updates. A very good evening to you, Rita. Maybe what can you tell us about what's happening there, and particularly what security features do we have in place as a national tallying center at Bomas?
Well, a very good evening to you, Sharon. Here I can tell you security is tight. Only accredited members of the press, observers and party agents and officials will be allowed here from the gate, the main gate outside, just when you turn in to get into Bomas. Their security from police officers, GSU officers, you cannot access, you cannot go through the gate without your identification, your accreditation card that was issued by the IEBC. And to get into this auditorium as well, there is a different accreditation from those who are inside here and those who are outside. Other members of the press, other party agents will not be allowed into the auditorium tomorrow or even now. You need a special accreditation card to allow you to get into this auditorium, which is now quite empty. But tomorrow, same time, things will be totally different. By now, tomorrow, results should have started trickling in from the polling stations where the presiding officers will have relayed, once they count the votes from their polling station, directly take a scanned image of the Form 34A that they will have put in the counted votes. They will relay that directly here. And so by this time, 9 o'clock, depending on the number of people in a polling station, if the presiding officer there finishes counting their vote before he even takes the physical copy to the constituency returning officer, that copy of the results from the polling station will already be here. And Sharon, earlier this evening, the IEBC, led by Chairman Wafula Chebukati, held a final press briefing ahead of tomorrow's polls. And despite the IEBC's preparedness for these elections, there were several errors that were recorded. In Mombasa, in Kakamega, the gubernatorial candidates, their pictures and their details were wrongly printed on the ballot papers. In Kachaliba and Pokot South as well, for the member of National Assembly, their pictures, their details were put in wrongly. And the commission says those elections in those areas, Mombasa County, Kakamega County, Kachaliba constituency, Pokot South, have been suspended. He tried to explain that the fact that once the ballot papers are delivered into the country, they go into the warehouse, they cannot be opened. You just have the sample on top of the container, the specific one carrying those ballot boxes. And so he tried to explain that once they got to the constituencies where they were being distributed, that's when they were opened, and then they realized the error. But he insisted that the sample of the paper on top of that specific consignment showed the correct details, the details that the Commission then had verified before the papers were printed. He was also quick to add that following that error, it is the printers who will print the correct papers at their own cost. And of course, the elections for those areas will then be gazetted to be held at a later date. Other errors recorded. For instance, in Fafi, the member of County Assembly Ward ballot papers were taken to Chuka in Tharaka Nithi. There was the same case in Machakos, where those papers were found to have been taken to Kuresoi in Nakuru County. There was the issue of the KEMS kit, which was reported missing in Moyale. And the Commission says that kit has been blacklisted. Any data that is transmitted from that kit is null and void. There was the issue of the presiding officers, deputy presiding officers in Thiwa, Webuye East and Webuye West, who were reported to have held meetings either with the candidates or with associates of candidates in tomorrow's elections. And those, the Commission said, had been suspended and will be replaced by new presiding or deputy presiding officers. So Sharon, here at the Bomas of Kenya, the National Tallying Center, we expect that the activity will pick up from tomorrow evening when those results start trickling in. Throughout the country, the IEBC saying 465,000 personnel. This includes presiding officers, deputy presiding officers, returning officers, security personnel have been deployed to observe this election tomorrow. Sharon.
Well, thank you very much, senior reporter there, Rita Tinina, just giving us updates from Bomas of Kenya. Thank you for that. And of course, just highlighting some of the errors that IEBC during their press briefing earlier this evening highlighted, suspending, of course, 4 races, as Rita has mentioned there, in Kakamega constituency, Kakamega County, Mombasa County, Kacheliba constituency, and Pokot South constituency, just highlighting that there are errors in the ballot material and that the printers are going to have to do, fresh ones at their own cost. So just some of the